Hello and welcome everyone to another game of World of Warships. Today I'm in the Amagi, the Tier 8 Japanese battleship. I am on the map Ocean in the Zone game mode, which is kind of new, and it's a Tier 8 battle. Now in this game mode there is one very big capture zone, and at the beginning of the match there is a 2-minute countdown, and after that you can capture this zone. Now in reality this 2-minute countdown makes absolutely no difference. I mean, you can see our destroyer is already inside the cap circle, so in theory he could start capping this point now, but in reality an enemy destroyer is probably in there as well, and as long as both teams are inside the cap, nothing's happening. So the timer has absolutely no influence on the game. They could make it more interesting if it was like maybe something like a 10-minute timer where you can say, hey, we want you to fight in the beginning, and we like after a certain amount of time we activate an additional way to end the match, because we don't want an early cap victory or something like that. On the other hand, if you have a point this big, nothing like that matters. You are kind of forcing the engagement on the center of the map. So the big point is probably trying to prevent people from sticking to zone walls. But I think maybe you could make different maps where timers might be interesting. I definitely like that they are experimenting with game modes, because there is only so much difference you can have with maps in a game like this, and I just scored a Citadel hit. Poor little Nuremberg. But yeah, Citadel hits is why we play battleships. Anyhow, what I was saying is that I like that they are making different maps, because yeah, ships don't offer so many possibilities. You only can place islands, and here you can see you can also make a map with no islands at all. So different game modes, always looking forward to them, but I mean in this game mode it's just the one big point and the timer doesn't matter. Now anyway, let's talk about this nice little battleship I'm driving. The Amagi has 5 turrets, they are double barreled, and they fire 410mm guns. And I just got first blood and a kill, which is nice. Now the Amagi has a stock range of about 18 kilometers, which isn't that great in a Tier 8 battle. But once upgraded, it offers 20 kilometers, which is quite acceptable. And yes, here you can see me drive straight into a lot of torpedoes, because I'm an idiot. I mean, you can see the smoke. It was logical that there is a destroyer there, and it was also logical that he was launching torpedoes at me. And like an idiot, I just continued driving in a straight line. So I deserved getting hit. Now this time I'm paying attention and I'm avoiding torpedoes. I still have armor piercing loaded, because it just takes too long to switch ammunition on this ship. And while armor piercing will over-penetrate, it will still do some damage, and yeah, it was enough damage this time. Also this destroyer helped, and my secondary batteries helped, so far so good. There is another destroyer in the vicinity, so I should probably be more careful, and I got a Citadel hit on this North Carolina. Yes, Citadel hits, that's mostly why we play battleships, or why people play battleships. The armor piercing shells of a battleship, they really hurt. And it's always a joy to see big numbers when it comes to your damage. Now, my team is pretty much advancing into the point. The enemy is sticking to the outskirts, but even though we have such a huge presence inside the cap circle, nothing's happening, because as long as an enemy just keeps his little toe inside the circle, we can't cap. And I think generally this capture zone benefits the ocean map especially, because usually if you have 2 points, you have one team like sticking to the zone wall, maybe going down here, and the other team sticking to the zone wall and going maybe somewhere around here. And often it's just a base trade with not much shots fired, because everybody is afraid to get shot at. And to a degree there should be. The problem with a map where there aren't any islands is just that once you are spotted, you're probably getting shot at from every direction. Especially the higher the tiers go and the longer the ranges are. And I mean, focus fire is the right tactic. Spreading your damage around doesn't help you. A wounded ship is as dangerous as a full health ship, so you want to reduce the number of enemy ships as fast as possible.
Torpedoes to starboard.
And if you just have your team, if you force the teams to split up, you might only get focus fired by like 5 enemies instead of 10. Still not a desirable thing, but it makes it a lot easier to be a bit brave. And usually if you are the ship closest to the enemies, they're probably shooting you, so you want to turn around, try to dodge, and then let someone from behind engage. And just drive around in some maneuvers. Also in reality, not every enemy is focus firing. So it's kind of manageable if the teams are split, but in this map like Ocean, the brave guy often gets punished, which is kind of sad. Now I'm trying to go for this Admiral Hipper. The enemy cruisers are kind of nice, showing me broadside, at least some of them. And yeah, he is turning around, he isn't that nice anymore. Also have to be careful, there are still 3 destroyers around. And there are a lot of torpedoes coming my way.
Torpedoes, direct front.
But yeah, not sure if I would have been able to dodge that one. But the torpedo ran out of steam, so it wasn't a problem, and I can easily dodge those torpedoes. But there is also a lot of smoke around. Now, I find it nice that my team is still sticking to the big point, unafraid of the enemy, and they don't wanna get close. I mean, they don't have to, they are still contesting the point with their destroyers. But I find that very often it just pays off if your team really is a bit more aggressive and goes for the objective and not just trying to stick to the zone walls. I mean, the reality of this game is that an enemy will shoot you. And oh, I got another citadel hit on this Otago, which is quite nice. And as I said, the reality of this game is an enemy will shoot you and you will take damage. You have to use your hit points as a resource. Because getting a little damage, it's not bad. It doesn't really hurt you as long as you survive. And there are lots of torpedoes incoming once more. But they aren't dangerous the way they are spread. You can also see the enemies have split up. There is kind of an advantage if you have your team positioned like this, because you can't like angle for more than one side, and you really want to angle your ship and you want to avoid to expose your broadside. But if you are too far away, you can't help each other. So not sure if they wouldn't have been better off sticking together.
Torpedoes to port.
And destroyers are trying to be a nuisance. They are shooting torpedoes blindly inside our team. And since we have somewhat of a cluster of ships, I guess the chances might not be that bad. But in the end we are just moving too much. And their destroyers are reasonably afraid to get close, because once we spot them, our cruisers will probably obliterate them. And we don't have a battleship that's somewhere on the outskirts and all alone. Now, overall, we are actually behind right now, one ship. But I think it's still looking reasonably good for us. The enemies have really split up. And our team is going for those two at the top. I'm still engaging these guys down here, but I'm trying not to expose them broadside, and at this range it's hard to really hurt a battleship if he isn't just like showing you the broadside. I also have used my last charge of the repair ability, so quite a lot of damage that I've taken this game already, but I'm still around and I'm still hurting people. And I'd much rather have them shooting me than like citadeling one of our cruisers. Now there's a zone wall, he's kind of forced to show me his broadside now. Now with a recent change, when you drive against the zone wall, your engine power is reduced quite severely. Don't think it's instantaneously, it's like a slow process, so the game allows you to correct your zone wall driving. And this Admiral Hipper is at 900 HP, I really should kill him. And that's a mistake on my part. I should have tried to shoot the wounded cruiser. I kind of got a little distracted by this destroyer because I am afraid of torpedoes and I wanted to turn away. Also, my team finished with the guys in the top, and while I engaged 3 enemies who did not manage to do much damage to me, I allowed my team to clear up the top. And now I think we are in the lead again. The times also, yeah, it's running dangerously low. We still can't cap because their destroyers are here. And I got another Citadel hit and Confederate. Confederate is great because it gives you the signal flags which increase experience in a battle. And everybody loves experience. Now there are more torpedoes incoming, but I'm not too concerned. Again, a very wide spread, I have a lot of time to maneuver. And yeah, the torpedoes are kind of preventing me from using my forward mounted guns at the moment. And now, considering the time that's left, it's probably time for more direct engagement and really drive towards the enemy. At this long ranges, it's hard to get good hits or hit in the first place, especially if the enemy maneuvers. So, with this little time left, we might want to take a more direct approach and say, okay, we have the superior numbers. Now we're just coming for you. Also, my team's still rather sticking together. And we have some pretty healthy ships left. I mean, obviously not the one cruiser over there, but there is a full health New Mexico. I always think that either something went terribly wrong or you didn't play it right if you are at full health in a battleship that late in the game. Since you have a repair ability and you have lots of hit points and you have good armor. So if somebody is getting shot in your team, it might as well be you. Now there is a... Congo. Interestingly enough, the Congo has quite a lot of range. The Congo is the tier 5 Japanese battleship, and it has more range than the tier 6 battleship, than the tier 7 battleship, and then the tier 8 battleship. For whatever reason. It's not... like the difference is that extreme. A Congo has something like 21 kilometers, and my Amagi has upgraded 20 kilometers. But still, it's surprising. At least it's surprising for me. Now, only 2 minutes left and 2 enemies left. The Congo won't survive for long. The problem might be the destroyer. He still isn't spotted. But since we are capping, he is not inside the point. So he could try something sneaky, like staying out of sight and then... oh, I just got my high caliber. Which is also rather nice. And there goes the Congo. So only the destroyer left, and yes, he has to get inside the point now or we will just win by capping. And he's trying, he's getting spotted and he is too late. So this is a win.